Hello, Flight Sim fans, and welcome to the Practically Geek channel. In today's video, I've traveled 2,000 miles off the coast of Chile to explore Mataveri International Airport, known as the most remote airport in the world. Mataveri or Easter Island Airport has been developed by WTFlightSim and published by SoFly. If you are interested in this add-on, I've linked the flightsim.com store in the description down below. If you do enjoy this video, give it a massive like and please consider subscribing to the Practically Geek channel for more flight simulator and aviation content just like this. Mataveri International Airport, Sierra Charlie India Papa, is located on Isla de Pascua, aka Easter Island, and operates scheduled flights by Chilean carrier LATAM Chile. Currently, there is daily flights from Santiago, Chile, and weekly flights from Tahiti. Some days the frequency does increase to 2 flights, and in the high season, it can go up to 3 flights per day. As with all my Payware reviews, I will take you around the default scenery for the airport first, then head back into Easter Island to see the improvements WT FlightSim have made, including a look at the night lighting and a split screen before and after comparison. From above you can see the fairly long runway. It's actually nearly 1,000 feet bigger than Manchester airports, but without the connecting taxiways, meaning aircraft have to use the turn pads located at the start of runway 10 and runway 28. Interestingly, the default scenery hasn't included the turn pad at runway 28, but it has placed the one located about 3/4 of the way down from runway 10. The airport's layout is pretty simple. There's a north and a south apron pretty much opposite to one another. The smaller one on the south has a few hangars along the edge, which I presume is for general aviation, while the apron to the north provides room for wide-body airliners such as the 787 Dreamliner. On the northwest tip of the larger apron is the small but very unique terminal. I didn't expect the Autogen to get this building remotely right, but it has had a good go in replicating the shape and position. The aerial imagery isn't the best in this part of the world, but again I didn't expect it to be. The apron and runway textures are okay with decent ground markings throughout the aerodrome. There is a control tower at Mataveri. I couldn't find much information or pictures of it. From what I can see on Google Maps, it looks to be here, but the default scenery has dumped a small bungalow in its place. With that said, there really isn't much else I can show you within the default scenery, so let's have a look at what WT Flight Sim have done with the most remote airport in the world and see just how much they've improved it. I will see you back on Easter Island in just a moment. Welcome back to Mataveri International Airport here on the sunny Isla de Pascua. I'm just about to leave the terminal for a tour of the island, but before we head off, let's have a look around the airport to see the improvements the developers have made to the scenery. Back above the aerodrome and we can see WT Flight Sim have made quite a few changes to the airport, starting with the apron, runway and ground marking textures, which have all been upgraded and now look a lot better than before. At the start of runway 28 the turn pad has been added along with a construction site over to the south. It's nice to see the perimeter dirt roads have been upgraded, making them look more defined in the aerial imagery. The ground clutter just beside the runway is a nice touch. Building materials like concrete pipes, wooden planks and metal supports give the construction site some character while giving the area a bit more immersion over the default scenery. It's great to see the fire and rescue building has been modelled and included. Just behind that we can see the green fence separating the airport from the surrounding neighbourhood, which is always a nice bit of detailing in my opinion. Next to the fire station is the control tower. As we saw in the default scenery, this was depicted as a small bungalow. In the add-on, however, we get the more true-to-life version of the building, which looks similar to the one found at Mataveri. Before we continue our tour of Easter Island Airport, remember to give the video a massive like and subscribe to the channel for more flight simulator and aviation content just like this. The general aviation apron over to the south contains some good upgrades, including custom buildings like this lovely looking hangar complete with animated doors. Texture quality on the buildings is good. The resolution isn't pin sharp by any means, but definitely wins points for its weathered, dirty look, which at a distance looks very nice indeed. The main apron is where this Payware Airport really shines. As we enter via the small taxiway, we can see the upgraded ground textures with traces of dirt and tiny lumps of concrete scattered along the surface. Again, the textures used aren't the sharpest we've seen, but they are a lot better than what we got within the default scenery, and they are more than acceptable, as you can see here from the window of this 787. Along the edge of the apron is the LATAM cargo building, which has been handcrafted in great detail with the LATAM logo and good texturing throughout. Looking over the apron are two large metal structures holding four spotlights in place. The modelling is actually pretty impressive. Each individual step of the ladders and support beams are visible and well rendered. I really like the hand-placed objects around this area. The traffic cones with the chains linking them look great. This whole section of the airport just feels more alive thanks to the developer's attention to detail and custom modelled assets. Landside at Mataveri Airport is pretty much a small car park with room for buses and coaches to collect passengers and drop them off. There's a hut located in the middle and two seats facing away from the terminal which have been faithfully recreated. The entrance looks fantastic in this scenery. The white gates are modelled and textured really well. The airport sign is nicely weathered with patches of dirt, and the rock structure with the highly detailed clocks on it looks exactly like the real thing. Looking at the exterior of the terminal, it's pretty much a replica of the building found at Mataveri. The wooden beams, the metal struts, and the wall art look really great, although I do need to point out the elevation issues causing a visible gap between the ground and the building model. Airside is where the detail reaches another level. Again, some elevation or positional issues prevent these walls from touching the ground correctly, but there's no denying this terminal is one of the most beautiful airport buildings in the world. Everything is just so authentic. WTFlightSim have really gone all out to give us a true recreation of this airport. I'm very impressed with how much the add-on replicates the real scenery. Signs, artwork, statues, foliage, and the Chile flag all come together to create a very convincing rendition of Mataveri. Before we take a look at my split screen before and after comparison, let's have a look at the night lighting implementation for this add-on. Roll back your watches and clocks to 1 AM and join me as we explore the airport after hours. Straight off the bat, we are getting a light source on the main apron, something the default scenery failed to do. The spotlights look great as I thought they would do, the bulbs shining brightly down illuminating the metal tower and the floor below. The LATAM cargo building looks good, the wall lights along the front illuminating the area around them well. So do the lights on the hangars over on the general aviation apron. These provide the only source of light for this section of the aerodrome. Night lighting at the main entrance is subtle but good. The terminal is lit up along the front by the small ceiling lights, and the windows have what looks like an image of the airport's interior on them, which in my opinion doesn't look the best. It's the same airside, the windows have an orangey glow with an image of what I assume is the interior on them. The perspective is a bit off and it looks like the inside slopes downwards. I'd love to see the developers add the interior to this terminal. I think it would be a fantastic addition to the add-on. With that said, the area around the two tunnels just beside the apron looks absolutely amazing. The light coming from the poles do a fantastic job of illuminating the pathways below, making the amazing artwork visible at night. I think WT Flight Sim have done a good job with the night lighting implementation. For a small remote airport such as this, they have managed to recreate the atmosphere of the airport at night by introducing realistic lighting, which looks great in my opinion. For a better look at the changes WTFlightSim have made to Mataveri Airport, let's take a look at my split screen before and after comparison, which will show you the default scenery at the top and the Payware add-on at the bottom. Feel free to pause the video throughout to get a closer look at both sceneries side by side. Grab yourself a cup of coffee or tea, sit back and enjoy. Mataveri International Airport is available now from the FlightSim.com store, priced at a very reasonable £8.28. If you like the look of the Payware add-on, I've popped a link to it in the description below this video. Performance with this add-on installed is excellent. I experienced no FPS loss and absolutely no stutters. I would imagine this is due to the size of the airport and also the textures not being the most pin sharp performance hogging assets in the scenery, which is a massive positive. I think Mataveri Airport by WT Flight Sim is brilliant. The transformation between the default And the payware is one of the top things I look at in these reviews, and this add-on is a big upgrade to what we get in the sim originally. As I mentioned before, I would love to see the developers add the authentic interior. It would be amazing to enter the gates, travel through the terminal and out onto the apron. Hopefully WT can fix the issues with the elevation causing the terminal to float up on one side, but this is pretty much hard to spot in normal use. So grab yourself a general aviation aircraft for some island sightseeing or pilot the Dreamliner from mainland Chile to the most remote airport in the world. Let me know what you think of WTFlightSim's Mataveri International Airport in the comments down below. Will you be picking this one up or will you be heading off to another destination? If you have enjoyed this video, give it a massive like and please consider subscribing to the Practically Geek channel for more flight simulator and aviation content just like this. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you again very soon.